Some bike tools are pretty specific. Here are the 5 ones we use the most at the Lansing Bike Co-op. First off is a standard pedal wrench. This is going to be the same thing as a 15mm box end wrench, except when you try to take off pedals with one of those, it's really hard because you don't have a lot of leverage and you really only have 2 positions you can put it in. With the pedal wrench you got a couple more positions and a longer handle, which gives you a lot more leverage and makes taking off stuck pedals a breeze. Next up are cone wrenches, and these are basically the same things as box end wrenches except they have a much thinner profile, and that's because they're used to adjust the cones on a wheel. A regular box end wrench wouldn't fit here, but you don't want to use these wrenches as regular ones just because they are so thin they end up being pretty fragile as well. Tool number 3 is called a chain whip, and this weird looking tool you're not really going to be able to use it by itself. Instead you're going to have to use it with cassette tools. They make them in a couple different shapes and sizes depending on what kind of cassette you're working on. So when you use them, you're just going to place the cassette tool into the cassette lock ring. You'll hold the cassette in place with the chain whip just to make sure it doesn't spin around when you're trying to loosen it up. And then with a regular wrench, you're just going to turn the cassette tool counterclockwise and loosen the lock ring. And then that'll let you take the cassette right off. This next tool is called a derailleur hanger alignment tool, and it's probably one of the most useful ones we have. Basically, the piece of metal that the rear derailleur is attached to can get bent up in a crash or if you drop your bike, which will throw off the shifting. The alignment tool measures the straightness of the hanger relative to the wheel, and if it's out of whack, all you have to do is bend it back. As you can see, it's pretty close on the bottom, but there's more of a gap on top, which means I'm going to have to bend this hanger up slightly. On cassettes with more gears, this alignment becomes way more crucial. Last but not least is a crank puller, and you're going to use this tool mainly on bikes with a square taper bottom bracket, one of the more common ones you'll see. So take the cap off the crank, screw in the outer jacket of the tool, make sure it's really in there, you might need to use a wrench. And once it's secure, start spinning the handle, and basically this will tighten up the tool and pull the crank right off. I really want to stress screwing in that outer jacket all the way, because if you tighten up the tool and the outer jacket isn't secure in there, you'll rip the threads right out. So these are 5 bike-specific tools I think you should know, but there are a lot more, so stay tuned for part 2. This video is a production of the Lansing Bike Co-op. We're located at 1715 East Kalamazoo Street in Lansing, Michigan. Check out our Facebook, check out our Instagram, and we hope to see you there.